Welcome to Business Book Daily. Today I'm breaking down How Google Works by Eric Schmidt, Jonathan Rosenberg, and Alan Eagle, a book about building companies that can hire exceptional people, make faster decisions, and keep innovating as markets change. I'll cover the big idea, the practical business lesson, and three sharp insights you can use right away. Let's get into it. But first, a word from our sponsor. Want to sell more without adding fixed payroll? A lot of smart operators hire commission-only reps, experienced sellers who get paid only when they produce results. If that sounds like a smarter way to scale, post your opportunity at commissiononly.com. Thousands of motivated reps are actively looking for performance-based roles right now. Commissiononly.com. Today's book is How Google Works. Eric Schmidt is Google's former CEO, Jonathan Rosenberg is a former senior Google product executive, and Alan Eagle is a longtime Google communications leader and executive advisor. The central idea is that companies can't compete in fast-changing markets by relying on slow decisions, rigid plans, and several layers of approval. They need talented people who understand technology, customers, and business well enough to solve difficult problems quickly. The book's argument is practical. Hire exceptional people. Put them in small teams. Give them useful information. Let evidence shape decisions. Then allow strong ideas to win, even when they don't come from the most senior person in the room. Leaders provide direction, define standards, and remove barriers. They shouldn't control every choice made by people who are closer to the customer and the work. That approach became more important as the internet changed how products are created, tested, copied, and improved. In older companies, senior leaders often made plans and passed instructions down through several layers of management. That system could work when markets change slowly. Becomes a problem when customer needs, technology, and competition change every week. By the time a large plan moves through every approval stage, the market may already have moved. The better approach is to build the company around capable employees who can make informed decisions close to the work. Leaders set the mission, priorities, standards, and limits. Teams then use customer data, technical knowledge, and fast experiments to determine what should happen next. One of the book's most useful ideas is the smart creative. A smart creative understands more than one part of the business. They may have deep technical or professional skill, but they also understand customers, commercial needs, and how their work fits into the larger company. They don't stay inside a narrow job description. They ask questions, challenge assumptions, learn quickly, and take responsibility for turning an idea into something useful. This matters because important problems rarely fit neatly inside one department. A customer problem may involve product design, technology, pricing, communication, and support at the same time. If employees only understand their individual task, they may complete their work without solving the real problem. Smart Creative looks across those boundaries. They connect technical possibilities with customer needs and business results. That means hiring should focus on more than whether someone can perform the job as it exists today. Markets change, tools change, customer expectations change. A person who knows the current process perfectly but struggles to learn may become less valuable as conditions change. A person who asks strong questions, learns quickly, and works across several areas may become more valuable over time. Another central idea is that product quality should lead the strategy. Strong marketing can create attention, can introduce a product, generate interest, and help the company reach new customers. Marketing can't protect a weak product forever. If the product doesn't solve an important problem, work reliably, or give customers a clear reason to choose it, promotion only helps people discover the weakness faster. The product has to create real value, and sales and marketing can amplify that value. This doesn't mean companies should ignore branding, advertising, or distribution. It means those activities work better when they're built around something customers genuinely want. Before increasing the marketing budget, leaders should examine the product. Does it solve a meaningful problem? Is it easy enough to use? Does it work reliably? Would existing customers recommend it? Are people continuing to use it after the first purchase? If those answers are weak, more promotion may not be the best next move. Another important lesson is that small teams move faster. Large groups create more meetings, more handoffs, and more chances for responsibility to become unclear. When many people share ownership, nobody may feel fully responsible for the result. Smaller teams can communicate directly, test ideas, make decisions, and correct mistakes more quickly. That doesn't mean every important project should be handled by two people. It means the core team should include only those who are needed to understand the customer, create the solution, test it, and make decisions. Their experts can be consulted without joining every meeting. Each important project should also have one clear owner. Several people may contribute. One person should be responsible for the decision, deadline, and result. Shared work is useful. Shared accountability can become no accountability. The book also argues that information should move openly. Employees make better decisions when they understand the company's goals, customer data, current performance, and major risks. When information remains trapped inside senior management, people lower in the company have to make decisions without context. That creates slower work and weaker choices. An employee may unknowingly repeat research another team has already completed. Product team may build something that conflicts with the company's priorities. Customer-facing employee may spot a growing problem, but lack a clear way to share it. Making useful information easier to find reduces those problems. Openness doesn't mean every employee should have access to everything. Customer records, employee data, legal matters, confidential negotiations, and security information need proper protection. Lesson is to restrict information for a real reason, not simply because managers are used to controlling it. The book also challenges the belief that every decision requires consensus. Good leaders invite disagreement. They listen to evidence and encourage people to challenge assumptions. They don't wait forever for everyone to agree. Consensus can feel safe, but it may hide weak accountability. People continue discussing the issue because nobody wants to make a choice that others may dislike. At some point, the person responsible has to decide. The best process allows strong debate before the decision and clear support afterward. Once the right people have been heard, the owner makes the call, explains the reasoning, and defines the next step. Decision can change later if new evidence appears. The company shouldn't confuse openness to new information with endless delay. So how do you apply these ideas? Start by defining the problem your company exists to solve. Don't begin with a product feature, revenue target, or marketing channel. State the customer problem clearly enough that employees can use it to judge ideas and priorities. A clear problem gives teams a common direction without prescribing every move. Next, identify which decisions need to happen faster. Look for delays caused by unnecessary approvals, repeated meetings, unclear ownership, or information that's difficult to access. Don't try to redesign the entire company at once. Choose one slow process. Map the current steps. Identify who needs to be involved and who doesn't. Remove approvals that don't reduce meaningful risk. And test the faster process. Give every important project a clear owner. Write down who can make the final decision, what outcome they own, and which limits they must respect. People can disagree with the owner and offer evidence. But they should know who decides when the discussion ends. Keep project teams small. Include the people needed to understand the customer, build the solution, test the assumptions, and make the decision. Invite other specialists only when their knowledge is needed. This reduces meetings and keeps responsibility visible. Hire for learning ability, not only current experience. During interviews, give candidates a real business problem, ask how they would approach it, pay attention to the questions they ask before proposing an answer. Strong candidates usually want to understand the customer, constraints, evidence, and definition of success. Then change one piece of information and see how they respond. The goal isn't to trap them, it's to learn whether they can adjust when the situation changes. Don't let job descriptions become walls. Salesperson may recognize a product problem. An engineer may understand a customer need. Support employee may notice a broken process before management does. Create a clear route for people to share useful ideas outside their formal role. That might be a regular product review, a shared problem log, a short written proposal, or direct access to the person who owns the issue. Put product quality before promotion. Before spending more on advertising, examine the product experience. Talk to customers. View complaints, cancellations, repeat purchases, usage data, and support requests. Marketing can accelerate demand for a strong product. Can't repair a product that disappoints customers. Talk to customers before making large commitments. Use interviews, prototypes, pilot programs, product data, and small tests. The purpose isn't to ask customers to design the product for you. It's to understand their problems, behavior, and response to what you're considering. Build short decision cycles. Instead of approving a full year of work based on assumptions, decide what the team needs to learn during the next few weeks. Test the most uncertain assumption first. If customers don't care about the proposed value, there's little reason to perfect the technology behind it. If the technology can't work at an acceptable cost, there's little reason to build a large campaign around it. Short cycles reveal those problems sooner. Create a written strategy, but don't treat it as permanent. Explain the company's mission, customer focus, major advantages, and current priorities. Employees need enough direction to make decisions that support the business. Then review the strategy when technology, competition, or customer behavior changes. Plans should guide decisions, shouldn't prevent learning. Make information easy to find. Employees shouldn't need several meetings to understand the company's priorities or basic performance. Share goals, customer research, important metrics, and project updates in formats people can actually use. Be clear about which information is confidential and why. Openness works best when employees also understand their responsibilities for privacy and security. Let evidence outrank job titles. Senior leaders often have valuable experience. They can also be wrong. Encourage employees to challenge ideas with customer data, technical facts, financial analysis, or test results. One practical way to improve that discussion is to ask senior leaders to speak later in meetings. When the most powerful person gives an opinion first, others may repeat it. Let the people closest to the problem share what they know before executives shape the conversation. Separate debate from delay. Encourage strong disagreement while the decision is open. Set a time limit. Define what information is needed, who must be consulted, and when the choice will be made. Once the owner decides, the team should support the direction unless important new evidence shows that it needs to change. Make meetings smaller and more useful. Every meeting should have a purpose, an owner, and a decision or output. Place basic status meetings with written updates when possible. Move people who don't need to participate. Person shouldn't lose an hour simply because someone thought they might find the discussion interesting. Reward people who solve important problems. Don't base recognition only on presentation skill, visibility, or closeness to leadership. Notice employees who improve the product, simplify a process, help customers, reduce costs, or make their colleagues more effective. What gets rewarded becomes part of the culture. Protect unusual ideas long enough to test them. Ideas may sound unrealistic because they challenge the company's current assumptions. Don't approve every idea, but don't reject one only because it's unfamiliar. Ask what evidence would show whether the idea deserves more investment. Then run a small, limited test. Allow small failures. Teams can't innovate if every unsuccessful test damages someone's career. Set limits on time, money, customer impact, legal risk, and security. Within those limits, let employees experiment. Afterward, review what happened. Ask which assumption was wrong, what the team learned, and how the next test should change. Failure is useful only when it improves future decisions. Avoid copying another company's culture without understanding it. Free meals, open offices, unusual benefits, and catchy slogans aren't what made Google successful. Those are visible features. The deeper lesson is to create an environment where capable people can work on important problems with information, speed, and ownership. Your company doesn't need to look like Google. It needs practices that fit your business and help your people make better decisions. Connect culture to daily behavior. If a company says it values innovation but punishes every failed test, the real culture values caution. If it says decisions are based on evidence but executives ignore data, the real culture values authority. If it says employees have ownership but every choice requires approval, the real culture values control. Culture is revealed by what happens, not by what appears on the wall. Keep talented people challenged. Strong employees may leave when work becomes repetitive, decisions become political, or poor performance faces no consequences. Give capable people meaningful problems, honest feedback, and room to grow. But don't confuse freedom with a lack of standards. Employees need room to decide how work gets done. They also need clear expectations for quality, ethics, customer care, and results. Autonomy works when responsibility is equally clear. Finally, keep changing the company before the market forces you to. Successful systems can become outdated. Leaders should regularly ask which assumptions are no longer true, which processes have become too slow, and what a new competitor would do differently. Now, here are 3 insights worth sharing. First, a fast company isn't one where everyone moves constantly. It's one where the right people have information and can make decisions without layers of approval. Second, great talent creates more value when employees understand technology, customers, and business instead of staying trapped inside narrow job descriptions. Third, culture isn't defined by perks or slogans. It's defined by who has information, who can challenge decisions, and what happens when a smart experiment fails. Today's closing sponsor is memoirghostwriting.com. Many of the best business books start as ideas leaders have been refining for years. Memoirghostwriting.com works with founders, executives, and industry experts to turn those ideas into polished business books that build authority, attract leads, and open doors. They handle everything from interviews to writing to editing to publishing. If there's a book in your head that should already be helping your business, learn more at memoirghostwriting.com. That's it for today. See you next time.